My name is Manuel Costa, and I'm a psychotherapist based in San Jose, California. One of the bugging questions, those nagging kind of questions that bother us as human beings and have eternally bothered people throughout the ages is, why am I here? What's my purpose in life? Well, there are many possible, responses to that, but one of them that makes a lot of sense to me was originally offered by Carl Jung, the psychologist who lived and psychiatrist who lived in the 1800s into the 1900s, died in 1961, who said, the goal of life is to realize the self. To realize the self. That's what I want to probe a little bit with you this morning, what that could mean. To realize means to make real or to make it, make something actual in life, not just in potential, not just as a thought or a possibility, but to bring it into actuality. And the self, in Carl Jung's way of thinking, was that deeper core of the human, that core which reflects the divine, which is much bigger than what we call the ego. I've got a little drawing here that I use with my clients, two versions of a drawing. This here represents the ego, kind of what we know about ourselves. And these represent, these little squigglies, the actions that we do, some good, some not so good. And this represents the connection, this neck, with this part that Jung calls the self, the deeper self. So this self is made in the image and likeness of God, as the scriptures say. So this part here is meant to represent the ground of being, the divine ground of being. And when Jung says that the goal of life is to realize the self, he means that all the potential here, which is vast and in a certain sense infinite, because it is an aspect of the divine, needs to be brought into fruition. It's the ego that makes choices to bring that self into being. Here's another kind of rendition of the same thing. This shows that the ego is not really separate from the self. It's really a part of the self. The self is the totality. The ego is what we're conscious of. And the rest of it is what we're unconscious of. And so we're trying to understand the goal of life is to realize the self, is to make conscious that of which we are currently unconscious. And we're going to explore 4 different ways of doing this. The first of them is very, very basic to life, and that is, what are we interested in? What gives us joy? What sparks our juices and our longings? And that is in itself a sign of what's brewing, fermenting within the deeper self. So our interests are the things that bring us joy. These things are signals of what's going on in our deeper self. So if you're interested in art, there's something there to be lived out then. You have to explore that. If you're interested in art and math and science, then maybe there's something there to be explored. Maybe that's where engineers come from, as people who are interested in math and science. So look within yourself to see what your interests are, where your heart is, and then that'll be a clue of what you want to explore as realizing that aspect of yourself. We'll explore other parts of other aspects or elements that can lead to further exploration of our deeper self in other talks.